This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen The Pied Piper. Again. This time it's a stop-motion fantasy drama from 1986, directed by Jiří Barta, taking the original legend and giving it a much darker coat of paint. However, it does follow the story rather faithfully, from the invasion of rats upon the town of Hamelin to the mysterious Pied Piper's visit, the exile of the rats, and the greedy town council who deny him his promised reward. However, it's at this point that it all begins to take a far more different turn from the established legend, though given the rest of the movie and what it explores, this doesn't end up feeling out of place at all. The movie does quite a bit of world building to set up the town of Hamelin, not simply as a location or a backdrop for the main story, but a center of commerce, where business rules the streets and the nobles rule the businesses. The rats themselves don't even figure into the story until sometime down the road, and so the film does a bit more to set up the rich nobles, portraying them as greed-driven, gluttonous figures who only care for their own happiness and comfort, no matter who loses out because of it. Of course, the rats and the piper figure into the story as they usually do, but after the rich folk cheat him out of his money, taking matters into his own hands comes to really define the film's thematic take on this story. I'm not gonna spoil it, since it's really one hell of a ride to experience for yourself, but it's ultimately a simple metaphor that gets pushed to its limits in a rather frightening but fully effective manner. There are a few other details added to this telling of the story, most of all one subplot that gives the piper himself some depth and strengthens the conflict between him and the nobles, but they feel a bit more like filler rather than a necessary narrative component. Regardless, it does help more than it hurts, so it's still entirely worth including, even if it could have had something more to offer than it does. Anyways, the story and how it plays out isn't exactly the primary focus here, or at least it doesn't seem like that to me. The art design is definitely what stands out the most, with stop-motion animation and imagery that pushes the medium in a unique direction, showing off a world with surrealist points of view. It forgoes most realism in favor of expressionism, giving some shots more than one perspective at once, or perhaps presenting jagged buildings with impossible structures. The scaling of people and animals against these, as well as against each other, is also futzed with more often than not, seemingly in a symbolic manner to suggest a sort of power struggle between whoever's on screen. Whatever the case, it's an art design that is much better seen than described. I will add that color choices are also pretty deliberate, with the town of Hamelin cast in dark and murky grays and browns, unless you're rich or morally upright and can afford color. Outside of Hamelin and its figurative darkness, things can and do literally get brighter, using more pastel tones here. In the end, the film works out amazingly well, not only in its own right as a story and a work of stop-motion animation, but as an example of how one may adapt a story faithfully while layering in themes and concepts that allow it to resonate beyond the simpler framework of the source material. The Pied Piper, Jiří Barta, 1986. 4.5 stars. I definitely recommend giving it a watch. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. You know, it was kind of difficult to talk about this movie at length, just like the short film I reviewed earlier today. Maybe I'm getting bad at this. Then again, I am still trying to avoid spoilers in these.